Blade. So I saw this movie last night, and I thought I would give you my review on it. Blade is directed by Stephen Norrington. It was released back in 1998. Blade is portrayed by Wesley Snipes, which he does a pretty good job at portraying Blade in this movie. So as far as the story goes, the movie opens up with Blade's mother being rolled into the hospital. She was bit by a vampire. She later dies from it, and she gives birth to Blade. Blade is known as the Daywalker. He's half human, half vampire. He has all the strengths of a vampire, but none of their weaknesses. So he's not allergic to garlic. Silver has no effect on him. He has super strength. He has super agility. However, though, he does have a vampire's thirst for blood, which he controls through medications and serums. And for years, he's been looking for a cure for his vampirism. And at night, he hunts down vampires, especially the one that's responsible for biting his mother, which is Deacon Frost, who is portrayed by Stephen Dorff. Now, Stephen Dorff, he plays Deacon Frost, and I kind of like Deacon Frost's portrayal. I kind of like Deacon Frost. To me, he feels like a threat. Not really by himself, but he has a lot of minions and goons that work with him, that work underneath him, that make him feel threatening. You know, like his sidekick's name is Quinn, portrayed by Donald Logue, which I like the actor Donald Logue. He's in Ghost Rider and Gotham. So Frost, he has all these minions that are working underneath him. Some are vampires, some are humans that have been marked. They have like a tattoo on their neck or on their tongue, and they pretty much do what the vampires tell them to do. If not, I guess they get bit and turned into a vampire. So throughout this movie, you can't really trust anyone. Is this person a human? Is this person a vampire? Can I trust this person? Is this person working with the vampires, or is this person going to kill me? Blade, he's looking over his shoulders. He has to protect a doctor. I believe her name is Karen, who encounters a vampire after Blade. He goes into like a nightclub. There's a bunch of vampires there. They're having a good time. He goes in there and he just starts slicing and dicing vampires. He starts burning them with steaks and garlic, and he meets Quinn. He chops off his arm and he burns him. He bursts down the flames. So they roll him into the hospital, and Karen does like an observation on him. Quinn gets up, and this is where Blade comes in. He pretty much rescues Karen, and Quinn is able to escape. So Blade is able to bring in Karen. He made Abraham Whistler. His family was killed by a vampire, so he is working with Blade to hunt down Deacon Frost. So Blade and Karen, they have to look over their shoulders. They're ducking because a lot of people are coming after them. A lot of people really want to take out Blade. Deacon Frost, he's trying to awaken a vampire god. They call him like La Magra, the blood god, or something like that. Whistler, he gets killed in this movie by Deacon Frost's minions. Like there's so many of them, and they're able to track down Blade, his whereabouts. They kidnap Karen, they kill Whistler, and they capture Blade because Blade is the key to awakening La Magra. And we later find out that Blade's mother is actually still alive, but a vampire. So Blade, he pretty much does the unthinkable. He kills his mother by stabbing a stake through her heart, and he gets out of all the booby traps. He takes out Deacon Frost. So that's pretty much the story here. As far as my thoughts on the film, I like the movie. I love the movie. I haven't watched this movie in about maybe 6 years. So after watching it back, I was kind of impressed by it. The movie still holds up till today, even though it was released back in '98. The movie's dark. Special effects still kind of hold up. There's a lot of violence in this movie, a lot of blood, which is kind of unusual for a 90s movie. It doesn't really feel like a 90s movie. It feels like a movie that would have been released back in like 2008. But, there's blood, there's violence, there's profanity. I thought there was a little bit too much profanity, especially the F word flying around. It kind of almost ruined the movie. The film is rated R, but just because your film is rated R doesn't mean you need to swear in every sentence of the movie. That's what kind of bothered me back when I first watched it, like 10 years ago. But it didn't really affect a whole lot for me. Almost ruined the film, but not really. I mean, this film really did have a historical importance on the superhero film genre. The majority of the superhero films that were made before Blade, they were all, kind of cartoonish. They had like corny, campy language, basic plots, a lot of bright and happy colors. But this film, Blade, kind of steered away from that. It kind of told Hollywood that these superhero films don't really need to be like a comic book on a big screen. These films can have some violence. They can have some, profound language, realism. A darker tone. And that is what this movie did. This movie did well at the box office, and this is what led to a couple of sequels and other superhero films launching their way to the big screen. So as far as my rating for Blade, I gotta give it a 10 out of 10. I didn't really have any issues that affected the performance of the film. I think the film did what it needed to do, and it kind of relaunched how superhero movies were done. That's why you got the MCU and X-Men and the Christopher Nolan Batman films. And it's all because of Blade. Blade kind of started it all. So I thought this film delivered. 10 out of 10. I like it. Go and watch it. It's still a classic after 23 years. So that's my review of Blade.